Hello and welcome. Today on Let's Start Cooking, we're going to do pasties. For those of you that don't know, it's basically like the original Hot Pocket. So the first thing we're going to start out with is we're going to start out with the pastry dough for these. And you're going to need 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to need a half a cup of butter, and you want this as cold as you can get it. And you're going to need a half a cup of shortening. Same way, you want it as cold as you can get it, and a teaspoon of salt. And all we're going to do is we're going to add this in. We're going to put this in here. We're going to add the shortening. We're going to add the salt. And we're going to take it and we're just going to start blending it all together into the flour. And we're just going to break this up, and what we want to get is we want to get this all incorporated to where we have, it looks like little crumbs, almost like when you had, if you have apple crumb pie, it almost looks like the crumbs that are on top of the apple. And we're just going to keep mixing this up till we get little crumbs, or the best that we can. We don't want to take too long because we want to try to keep this as cold as we can. Just so we have, it looks almost like little crumbs on top of a cake. That's all we're going to do. Once we get it to this point, we're going to start adding our water. We have 2/3 a cup of ice cold water. And we're going to add that in slowly until this actually starts to incorporate into a dough ball. Now we don't want to add too much because we want this as just enough water to bring it together. We're going to take this out. And we're going to take 2/3 a cup. And like I said, we're just going to take this and we're going to add this water slowly because we want this to start coming together. And it doesn't take a whole lot. And you'll see that. And with pie dough, you don't want to play with it any more than you have to because you want this to stay cold. You want that butter and the shortening to stay together, so when you put this in the oven and you bake it, those little chunks actually start to melt within the dough, and that's what makes the air pockets, and that's what makes it flaky. I'm gonna add a little bit more, but you'll notice it'll start to come together. And depending on where you're at, your humidity, and we're just gonna mix this up until we get this to all come together. Once we get it to this, to it's a ball now, and we have it all blended together, we're going to take this and we're going to put it in plastic, and we're going to keep this stored for 3 hours or overnight if you prefer in the refrigerator, and we're going to let this dough relax. We're just going to lay it down. We're going to gently press it into a disc. And we're just going to wrap this up. And we're just going to put this in the refrigerator 3 hours, overnight if you prefer, if you want to make this the night before. And we're going to let this dough relax a little bit. So we'll get this in the refrigerator. Now that we have our dough in the refrigerator and it's chilling, we're going to get ready for the ingredients for the filling. We're going to use about 1 pound of potatoes, about 1/2 pound of carrots, and about 6-7 ounces of onion. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take our potatoes, and what we really want to do is we just want to cube them up. We don't want really big pieces. Because remember, these are going inside of the, and if they're too big, that's all you're going to see is potato. So we just want to keep these So we're just going to get all these chopped up. And after we chop them up, we're just going to cut the carrots, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut little pieces because you don't want nothing big. And that's it. We're just going to get these chopped up. Now we're just going to cut these up, small pieces, nothing big, because like I said, we're gonna boil these down and get them soft. Now that we have our carrots and our potatoes cubed up and chopped, we're gonna put this in boiling water and we're gonna boil these till they're almost done, because remember, we're gonna bake these and we don't want them completely done or they're gonna get real soft and mushy on us. So let's put these in the pot and we'll get them boiling. All right, we'll just get these in. While we're waiting for the carrots and the potatoes, and we're also waiting for the dough, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cook our onions and we're gonna brown our ground beef. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is use about a tablespoon of olive oil. And we're gonna take our onions, and again, just like we did before, all we wanna do is get these translucent. I'm gonna cook these up. We're just gonna let these cook. We're gonna let these get translucent. Again, since everything is gonna get baked again in the oven, we don't wanna cook everything completely through because we don't wanna get it too soft. We're gonna now add our ground beef. We're just gonna brown this up. And incorporate everything in. We're almost done with this, but as I'm doing this right now, I'd like to take the time to ask you that if you find any of this video informative or enjoyable, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. It helps us move up, and it helps us know that we're actually doing something that people actually enjoy and want to see more of. Like and share with your friends. Now that our potatoes and our carrots are done, and our ground beef and our onions have been cooked, we're going to let these cool down to room temperature, because what we're going to do is we're going to mix this stuff together before we actually fill our pasties. So we'll let this stuff cool down, and we'll get our pasties out, and we'll get our dough going, and we'll get everything put together. Everything's cooled down. We left our dough rest, and now we're gonna just mix the hamburger and the potatoes and carrots together, and then we'll get our dough ready and we'll roll it out. So what we're gonna do with this is just very easy. Just put the ground beef in the bowl. Just going to gently mix this up. And this you want to be a little bit careful with, because since we did already cook the carrots and the potatoes, they are going to be a little soft, and we don't want to just turn everything into a mush. Just so they're mixed up a little bit. Want to make sure we get equal parts in each pasty that we're making. All right. We're going to take a little bit of flour. We're going to flour our surface. Either way you look at this, this could either be the fun part, or if you don't really care too much, this could be the messy part. We've cut our dough into 6 equal parts. And we're just going to take our dough, and it's going to be a little tough to work with it when you start, because it has been chilled for 3 hours. And we're just going to gently take it, and we're going to get it started. And this doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to cut this out anyway. But what you want to do is you want to get it started so we can at least put it down. We're going to take our rolling pin. Make sure your rolling pin is floured. And we're just going to gently start. You don't want to push, because you don't want to, if you push too hard on dough, you end up cracking it. You just want to go around gently. We're just going to roll this out. And if you notice that you're starting to do a little sticking, just put a little bit more flour. Now, you don't want to dry your dough out too much, so just be careful how much flour you actually use. But all we're trying to do is just get this rolled out. And like I said, if you get like that, if you find out you're starting to stick a little bit, then just take a break, reflour your rolling pin. Once you get it rolled out, all you're going to do is you're going to take a small plate. Mine's about 6 inches. You're just going to lay it down just to make sure you have about enough. We're just going to take a knife and we're just going to go right on around. Now you can make these smaller or bigger if you want. I usually do about this size because to me this seems about right for a meal. And take this extra, and you can always put this extra away. The only thing with dough, when you're working with any dough, the more that you knead it and the more that you handle it, the tougher it's going to get. So now that we have that, we're going to take this and we're going to take our mixture and we're going to take about a half a cup and we're going to lay that right in the center. We're going to lay that in there, and we're just going to take, we have one egg that we beat a little bit, and we're just going to lay this on the edges. We want to seal these edges when we're ready. We're just going to go right on around. We're going to seal these edges real nice. We're just going to fold this over gently. And this is the point where if you do get a rip in your dough, it's no big deal. You don't have to worry about it. Because all we want to do now is we just want to seal, because we're going to end up putting slits in this anyway to cook it. We just want to seal this off, seal the edges. And we're going to take this, and we're just going to lay it over there like that. We're going to gently put just a couple of holes. Now that we have them all made, we're going to take our egg wash and we're just going to lightly wash each one of these, and we're going to put a light coating on them. What that's going to do is going to make these get nice and golden brown. All right, now that we have this, you have one of two choices. You can either freeze these before you put the egg wash on them. You can actually freeze these and use them anytime you want. Or what we did now is we preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And we're going to put these in and we're going to bake them for about 40, maybe 45 minutes till they're nice golden brown. It's been about 45 minutes. We've taken them out of the oven. We've left them rest a little bit to cool down. And we'll see. I'll cut this one for you. They're nice and brown. They got that crunch. You can hear it when you cut through them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again next week. And like I said before, subscribe, like, and share our channel. It lets us know that we're doing something that people actually enjoy watching. And we'll see you on Wednesday.